So here they are. They have the knowledge of God. They know who God is. And they take the knowledge and the glory of God that they have, and they corrupt it, and they take it, and they make it into an image, into an idol made like unto corruptible man. Right? Look at the next verse. Wherefore God gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. Look at verse 26. For this cause God gave them up unto vile affection. Look at verse 28. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which were not convenient. Look at verse 25. Who changed the truth of God into a what? Now, John chapter 8 verse 44 said that who is the father of lies? Satan. So this lie system that takes the glory of the uncorruptible God and makes it into an image made like an uncorruptible man, who's the father of that? Satan. Verse 25. Who changed the truth of God into a lie and worshipped and served, notice, the creature more than who? What is Lucifer's ultimate thing that he wants? Rather than leading the heavenly hosts in their worship of God, he corrupts it and desires himself to be the one that is what? Worshipped. Now that ultimately happens, come with me to Revelation chapter 14. In the end, the culmination of this lie program of the adversary is going to result in the worship of who? Satan himself. Revelation chapter 13, for the sake of time, go straight to verse 4. Well, we better not do that or you won't understand it. Verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his 10 horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the names of blasphemy, the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. Notice, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great what? Who's the dragon? Revelation chapter 12. Go there. One page back. Look at chapter 12, verse 7. It says, there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. Verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and who? So who is that? That's Satan, right? Who is giving a power, a seat of authority and power to the beast in chapter 13? The dragon. Satan himself is, correct? That's what the verse is saying. Now go to verse 3, Revelation 13, verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to the death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after who? The beast, verse 4, and they worshipped who? The end game here, folks, of the lie system and program of the enemy is going to result in the worship of the wrong guy. And is that not what he wanted the whole time? Now, go back with me now to Isaiah 14, and you'll see more about this. Get Isaiah 14 in one hand and Genesis 14 in the other. Isaiah 14 and Genesis 14. Isaiah chapter 14 and Genesis chapter 14. So we know, folks, what do we know so far? Okay? We know that Lucifer was a created being. We know that he was the pinnacle of God's achievement in terms of wisdom and beauty. We know that he was decorated with a suit, for lack of a better term, of precious stones. We know that he was created with an internal instrumentation system to lead the heavenly hosts. We know that he was the anointed cherub that covered. We know he was perfect in all his ways from the day he was created till iniquity was what? Found in him. We know that the fundamental basis of his sin was pride. That pride led him to corrupt the wisdom that he had and go out and propagate a system of lies that is ultimately designed to remove the worship from God and transfer it to who? Him. Okay? Now, Look at Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. You will see in here what we're discussing. Verse 12, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, notice, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation on the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I will be like the Most High. Lucifer makes 5 I will statements. He says, these are the 5 things that I'm going to go out and do. I'm going to sit upon, and they culminate in the 5th one where he says, I will be like who? The Most High. Now, when he says that, most people in their thinking, in their theology, they think that Lucifer says, I'm going to be like God. Well, he does say that, in a sense, but he says specifically, I will be like who? The Most High. That is extremely critical for you to understand that in the Bible, the term the Most High is referring to something very specific. Come with me, flip to Genesis 14. Genesis chapter 14, verse 18. It says, And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine. And he was the priest of who? The Most High God. Verse 19. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of what? When Lucifer says, I will be like the Most High, what is he saying? He's saying, I want to be the one that possesses heaven and what? Earth. I want to be the one to sit upon the throne of accountability. I want to be the one to receive the worship, to receive the glory, to receive the adulation for myself. I will do this. And he says it in 5 I will statements that culminate in the 5th one where he says, I will be like who? The Most High. That is the plan. That is what he wants to accomplish. That is the result of his corrupted wisdom by reason of his brightness from Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 17. And then he's got the plan. He's got the lie plan. Now look, again, the issue here is not who's more powerful. The issue is what? Wisdom. Come with me to Ezekiel 28. Now let's talk for a minute about the marketing of evil. I kind of made a little comment a couple weeks ago, and who was the first marketing major? Lucifer. Lucifer is the first marketing major. He's got a plan. He was perfect in his ways till iniquity is found in him. Verse 17 said, Thou was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou was corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. And so from the pride and from the untruth of his plan, he now is going to go out and he's going to actively market and merchandise this plan amongst the heavenly realm. Look, if you would, starting at verse 16. Ezekiel 28, verse 16. Notice, in verse 15 it says that iniquity was found in him. Then verse 16 it says, by the multitude of thy what? Merchandise. They have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast what? Sinned. Therefore, I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. You notice what it says there about him merchandising? Look at verse 18. Verse 18. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities. Notice, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee, and it shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that what? Verse 16 says that he merchandised it. Verse 18 says that he what? So understand, Lucifer understands his great beauty. He understands some things about his difference from the rest of the angelic world. And his pride over his beauty causes him to corrupt the wisdom that was in him. He creates this plan of evil described for you in Isaiah chapter 14 that culminates with that fifth I will statement where he says, I will be like the Most High. And then instead of just keeping it to himself, what does he do?